everyone, welcome to Tathastu-ICS. I hope you all are doing good. And I think by now most of you must have heard the news that the G20 summit has been concluded and the conclusion was successful. Okay, so as a citizen of India, as a proud citizen of India, we all are very proud that this summit has happened in India and it has been concluded very successfully. Now there is a Delhi declaration and we will discuss that thing also. But today specifically we are going to talk about this corridor, India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Now it has been said that through this corridor, many questions have been answered. Be it India's concerns have been answered, and there were some concerns which have been posed to the world also. Okay, now broadly it was the Belt and Road Initiative by China, and it has been said that it's a counter, it's India's counter, it's world's counter towards that Belt and Road Initiative. And then there are many other dimensions which are related to it. Okay, so we will talk about the whole story, how this idea came into being, and then the different dimensions which are related to it. But before that, here's a quick information for you. There are four beautiful courses which have been designed by the Tathastu team. One is MSLV, Main Success Launch Vehicle. Admissions are open here. Another one is PSLV. It is going to get launched very soon, and if you want to understand the nuances of the prelims, then you can get enrolled in this particular course. NCERT modules and registrations are open here, and we all know it's the base for everything. And then there is philosophy option. Batches will start from 15th of September and it will be helmed by Dr. Tanujan ma'am. Okay, if you want to know about all these things, then you can contact her, and this is the address. Now let us talk about this particular corridor, this particular initiative. Okay, so it has been said that for the first time this idea was discussed for the first time between the NSAs of India and United States of America, between Ajit Doval sir and between Jack Sullivan, Mr. Jack Sullivan. Okay, so the concept of linking India and Arabian Peninsula via both the things, via ship and via rail, originated during a meeting between NSA National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and his US counterpart Jack Sullivan in May this year. It has also been said that for the very first time, it is now written by a foreign diplomat, that for the very first time it has been pitched by UAE, the NSA of UAE in January, and from there it has been taken forward by the NSAs of India and America. And they all knew that on the sidelines of G20, the prominent stakeholders of this particular corridor, the leaders of Middle East, the leaders of Europe, the leader of America, Mr. Joe Biden, and Indian leader, of course, Prime Minister Modi, they all will meet and they would be able to discuss this thing. So it has been rushed, and it has been rushed successfully. Since then, the idea has gained substantial momentum, and more rapidly, it has been executed rapidly than it was expected. Okay, this was the brief introduction. Now what is this thing? If we want to see this, and we are going to write our mains copy, and it is related to Union Public Service Commission, okay, IAS बनने के लिए. So if we are going to see this from India's prism, then India's quest for enhanced connectivity with its northwestern neighbors, it is very much important. Okay, this particular announcement is groundbreaking for multimodal transport and energy corridor between India, Europe via Middle East, and this has happened. This has already been happened. Now, why is this important? There are many factors. One is, as I've said, one is China, because China's expensive Belt and Road Initiative in the region, it was expanding at a very significant rate. Now, because China through these things are trying debt trap policies and making other nations who have taken the debt from these particular countries. Now it has been said that this Belt and Road Initiative has been carried forward in 70 different countries. Okay, and from those 70 countries, many countries are there who have taken the loan. Many countries are there who have taken the loan for infrastructure, and now they are not able to pay that loan back. Okay, so these are broadly developing countries or underdeveloped countries, and China has successfully exploited their situation. Okay, so for China, for the whole of world, for the global south, and for India also, because India is very much critical to BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, especially its few parts, that China-Pakistan economic corridor, okay, which goes from Gwadar to which links China's one part to Pakistan's another part. So this one thing is, it has been said that it's a counter to China's Belt and Road Initiative. Another one is that since 1990s, for last few decades, Pakistan is not allowing us to access the landlocked countries, be it Afghanistan, be it few nations of Middle East. Okay, so with this particular corridor, that problem will also be solved. And the third thing is credible connectivity through Iran into Eurasia. India has now found a promising solution to connect with Arabia and Europe, and this connectivity was very much important because of the lack of connectivity. Many things were there which have been postponed. There many things were there which have been planned कि अगर ऐसी चीजें कुछ होती हैं तो it would be done beautifully, but because of these lack of resources, because of these lack of access to different parts of the world, these things have been put on the back burners. Okay, but now it has been said that with this particular corridor it will be smoothened. Now what is this India Middle East Europe economic corridor? ये है क्या? ठीक है. So in a bid to stimulate economic development through enhanced connectivity and economic integration, the project is a part of partnership of global infrastructure investment. Okay, so there's a big thing, PGII, Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment, and it's a this particular corridor is going to be a sub part of that. Okay, so this is going to be the CPEC of BRI. Okay, now this is something similar to BRI. And what is this Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment? It's a West-led initiative for funding infrastructure projects across the world. Okay, now let us see this particular thing, PGII, extensively. So the infrastructure plan was first announced in June 21 during the G7 or the Group of 7 summit in UK. Okay, in that particular summit it has been said that enough of this China fear and enough of this BRI, and we are going to talk about this particular thing and we are going to solve this particular matter. Okay, and there would be a counter of that BRI, and that is going to be PGII. Okay, now the G7 countries, what are these G7 countries? United Kingdom, United States, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and European Union. Another one is a group. Okay, just like in G20 there are 19 countries, there were 19 countries and then European Union. अब तो एक और हो गया है, African Union is also there. So that is also being said कि the inclusion of African Union in G20 is a very great move from India. And if we compare that from where India and China started for a race towards Africa, that India is inching ahead in that particular race. Okay, so G7 में पहली बार, for the first time in G7 in June 2021, this particular thing has been proposed. Now the US president had called it, at that particular time it was said that this is going to be the plan. We are going to counter BRI with this global infrastructure, and at that point in 2021 it was called B3G, which is Build Back Better World. Okay, but for some reason it has been again put on the back burners, and उसके बाद कुछ इसके आसपास हो नहीं पाया. In 2022, during the G7 summit in Germany, the PGII was officially launched as a joint initiative to help fund infrastructure projects in developing countries through public and private infrastructure. Now, why? As we said that I emphasized particularly when I was speaking about BRI just few moments later back, this particular BRI focuses on developing and underdeveloped countries. Okay, so the idea of PGII, which has been for the first time, this idea was given in June 2021 with the name of B3G, and then in June 2022 it was said that we will call it PGII, and then this particular corridor is going to be the part of this particular initiative. Okay, I think this is clear to every one of you. Now let us talk about the benefits of this particular thing for India. Okay, through India's prism, through India's perspectives, what are those multi-dimensional benefits which India could be hopeful of and which India could reap. Okay, so for the first time, one thing is India-US Middle East cooperation. Okay, so there was a myth previously. There was a myth that it was believed that India and United States, they have a limited common interest in Middle East. Okay, maybe there are some interest which belongs to India, maybe there are some interests which are there for United States, but for them there is nothing to collaborate on. Okay, but this myth has been debunked in recent years with the formation of I2U2. Now what is this I2U2? I stands for, I2 means the two I's, one is India, one is Israel, and the two U's is, one is UAE and another one is this United States of America. Okay, so in Middle East, the whole of Middle East revolves around this triangle. Okay, so one is this Israel, another one is Iran, and then there is Saudi Arabia. Okay, so it revolves around these things, and if you really want to involve and if you really want to be successful in Middle East, then you have to collaborate with all these three major powers. Okay, so this is the thing. That is why there are few little concerns that except North Korea and Russia, the one country which is facing the sanctions of United States of America, another one is Iran. Okay, so how easy is it going to be to ask them to be on the table and to be friendly for all these things? It is going to be a matter of concern, and it is going to be a matter of diplomatic actions, and it will be done maybe. So another thing is the India-Arabia-Europea corridor has the potential to be even more significant in reshaping geopolitical dynamics. Okay, so with this particular forum, this myth has been debunked that India and USA, they don't have a common interest in Middle East, and with this particular corridor, with I2O2, it has been debunked, and with this particular corridor which goes to Europe from India through Middle East, it says that there are lots of things which can be explored between India and Middle East. Another one is breaking Pakistan's overland veto. Okay, as I've said that few countries which are besides Pakistan, that is one is Afghanistan, and then to access the countries in the Middle East, we time and again we asked for Pakistan's permission, and time and again they have rejected that permission. Okay, so with this corridor we are going to have as much less dependence on Pakistan as we can. And then it is also being said that during this particular meeting, this particular G20 summit, one thing which was very much important, which was very much interesting, was nobody discussed about Pakistan. Okay, so earlier maybe there was a reason when the discussions come along when there's a country which is very much important, or it's a friend to you, and maybe you're going to explore new things together. Okay, another thing for which you discuss about a country is when there are enemy issues, or when you're not very much on the same page, be it the boundary issues or the other issues related to that. But so you are the part of discussion, and you have to be the part of discussion to be relevant to the geopolitical space. But when no countries of these G20, in this G20 summit, when no country is talking about Pakistan, then maybe the relevance has diluted significantly. Okay, and then there's the idea also to avoid Pakistan as much as you can. So this project eliminates Pakistan's long-standing veto over India's overland connectivity to the west, and for decades Delhi sought trans-regional connectivity with Pakistan, particularly to access the landlocked Afghanistan and the Central Asia, but the Islamabad consistently refused it. But now there is a solution. There seems that there is a solution which will break Pakistan's this overland veto, okay, to access the other lands. Another thing is deeper engagement with Arabian Peninsula. Okay, now the corridor deepens India's strategic engagement with Arabian Peninsula. The Modi government has already strengthened political and strategic ties with UAE and Saudi Arabia. Now these are the two countries which were very important for Pakistan. Okay, Pakistan relied on these two countries, be it the economic help, be it the political help, or the strategic help. Pakistan heavily relied upon these countries. Okay, that there is a Islamic factor and a religious factor. Actually, there is a religious factor, and maybe they'll come in our support. And these were the countries who were going in Pakistan's support time and often. Okay, time and again. Now, this project presents an opportunity to establish enduring connectivity between India and Arabia, and we know in Middle East many of our workers are there, many of our people of Indian origin are there, Indian citizens are there, and they've been earning there for various years. Okay, so it is very much important to have cordial and important smooth relationship with the countries of Arabian Peninsula, and this is going to be a good step in that direction. Deeper engagement with Arabian Peninsula is going to happen. Another thing is promoting regional peace and competition with BRI. Okay, so again the China comes into the picture. So the project could potentially reduce the tensions in the Arabian Peninsula by fostering intra-regional connectivity. Now, as I've said, there's this thing, there's a triangle of Israel, Iran, and another country was Saudi Arabia. Okay, so all these countries time and again they've experienced very bad relations, or we all have heard about this 6-day war which was there between Israel and between the countries of Islamic world, and then there's a confrontation between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So there's the thing, and these are the key big players. Okay, so with that particular thing, with that particular corridor, if it goes from there, and if it increases the opportunity of employment, if it gives the opportunity to enhancing the standard of living, then maybe there's a situation, maybe there is a reason that this Arabian Peninsula could witness some reduction in the tensions. Okay, it aims to serve as an infrastructure of peace. Now there's a US, it is this particular word, these particular words are of a US ambassador. Okay, he said this, maybe this particular infrastructure will prove as an infrastructure for peace in the Middle East, though its success in achieving this goal remains uncertain, because we all know, as I've said, as we have discussed, that Iran is still not very much considered in this particular thing, and we will see this, how are the diplomats and how the countries are going to work upon that. Additionally, it positioned as an alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative, which has gained traction in South Asia and the Middle East and Africa. Okay, so these are the things. That is why it has been said that this particular, be it from India's perspective or from the perspective of the whole of the world, this particular corridor, this India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor is going to be a transformational geopolitical endeavor. Why? Because the India-Arabia-Europa corridor represents a transformative geopolitical endeavor with significant implications for regional connectivity, diplomacy, and cooperation. Okay, and as we have said that with this, if it provides the connectivity in the Middle East, in the African Peninsula, then this could prove as a infrastructure for peace. Okay, its success will depend on various factors, and these factors includes implementation of speed and sustainability, as well as ability to serve as a viable alternative to the BRI. Okay, so as there was an idea which has been proposed by the President of the United States of America. Now there is no other person which is more powerful, more dominant, and more persuasive than the President of US. Okay, we all have heard that phrase that if US sneezes, then the whole world catches the cold. Maybe this time, because of this idea of whole de-dollarization or moving away from US treasuries and everything like that, is reducing its significance. But still, US is US, and Joe Biden is, and the President of US, the President of the United States of America, is still considered very he's regarded with high respect. Okay, and because the US is regarded like that. So if there was a plan, what I want to say is that if there is something which has been proposed by him, that was B3, Build Back Better World, take a B3W. So if that has been put on a back burner, that there is a good possibility that this particular project will also face the same fate. Okay, so for that, to ensure that it doesn't happen with this particular idea, with this PGII or this India Arabia Europe economic corridor, they have to look at the viability and speed and sustainability of the project. Okay, Europe's active involvement makes the European Union a major player in shaping the future of the corridor. How? Because in Europe only Europe is trying to build this particular corridor or the connect whole of the Europe through a corridor which is the amount of money which is going to be spent on that particular corridor is going to be 300 million euros. Okay, so there are countries who are excited for it. There has been an idea which has been agreed upon by different members. The impact of this particular corridor is going to be far reaching, and it is going to serve as a problem solver to many countries, be it India, be it United States of America, be it the countries of Middle East, be it the countries of Europe. Okay, but now you have, all these countries have to come together. They have to implement it in a better way, and they have to look at the viability and sustainability of the project, and maybe these countries together they can pull off a good viable competitor of BRI. Okay, that is it for today. We'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye, and please like the video, and if you like it, please share and subscribe to the channel.